Let's cross over to Pretoria in Carousel, where the Police Minister Bheki Cele is now addressing the media with regards to the high rise of infections within the police service. Let's go there now. All right, so we understand that the police minister is also, preparing to address the media in just a moment. As you can see, the police officials and members of the SANDF waiting in anticipation for that address by the police minister. We've seen a rapid rise of COVID-19 infections within the police service, and we've seen some of the police stations being shut down and decontaminated across the country. So we'll be hearing from the police minister what the police service or the SAPS will do to curb the spread of coronavirus within the police service. Remember that the police service still remain one of the frontline workers in the fight against COVID-19, and whether this, okay, we understand that the police is already speaking. Let's now cross over there.
Northern Cape that called the police ninjas. Yeah, they all look like ninjas this time. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, officers. Good morning. Good morning. Everybody, good morning. Good morning. Officers, good morning. Good morning. National Commissioner of the South African Police, National Commissioner that are here, Acting Provincial Commissioner Babundovu. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay. The officers, the members that are here, South African Police, Defence Force, Metro, Gauteng, and everybody, again, good morning. I hope that this message far and wide to all men in blue and all security forces will reach and comfort you. I'm addressing you all today as Police Minister, who is appreciative of the hard work you have put in over the past 3 months. But I am also concerned about your safety and well-being during the COVID-19 pandemic. However, we remain encouraged by your resilience and you continue to be at the coalface of the global pandemic. During December last year, when we as a SABC adopted slogan "Zizojika izinto" for our safer season operations, we had no idea indeed Zizojika izinto life would change, not just for us as the SABC and security forces, but for the world over. This global health crisis has turned the world upside down, and you as members have not been cushioned from the impact. So we have a responsibility as a leadership to see that you are also safe as you try to save other lives. In February, members in blue were called upon to help protect South Africans against this invisible but deadly enemy. Hence, the President had allowed even the army to be out there because this enemy is deadly. With little or no time to prepare, all we knew was that the COVID-19 storm had to reach our shores and its path. It was disrupting and uprooting the lives and livelihoods of millions. Many of us were in doubt, many of us were not sure, many of us were encountering this situation for the first time. Nobody had experienced how to deal with this. But despite the mass uncertainty and fear that surrounded the virus and how it would impact on your work, your personal lives, and the lives of your loved ones, you stood firm and got the job done. As the National Commissioner has said, job well done. Up to this point, you have really put your shoulder on the wheel, and we are very appreciative and thank on that. On behalf of government and on behalf of His Excellency, the President. In March, when the national law was introduced, you carried on with the business of the day. Armed with your mask, gloves, hand sanitizers, and of protective gear, you had rose to the occasion. You left the comforts of your homes and went out into the eye of the storm. When the public heeded the President's call to stay at home. To date, you have manned over 14,000 roadblocks. You maintained high visibility and patrols in beaches, taxi ranks, markets, malls, Main Street, and other areas of potential mass gathering to ensure social distances and obeying the rules of this pandemic. You also closed down illegal operations that tried to undermine government efforts to contain the spread of virus. You officers also arrested and brought to book over 200,000 of those who transgressed the Disaster Management Act. But let me tell you the story. We are not there. Still a long way to go. As you have said, as you have seen, and you have heard the Minister of Health, that the storm finally has arrived. So be prepared. That is still a very long way to go. We are not near the end at all. As we continue ourselves and be part of this fight, we are also falling victims of the same war. We are also getting infected. We are also becoming victims. Some of ours are also succumbing to this deadly virus. Police and other forces during this pandemic has been challenged as has come, and this challenge has come at a cost. The virus has infected over 5,000 members of the South African police and other members of security forces. And we have worked hard to decontaminate of hundreds of police stations across the country. Sadly, this COVID-19 has claimed the lives of 36 of our own, from the very junior constable up to the general. The sad situation with this COVID-19, we are not given the opportunity to honor those of us that have fallen. We have tradition that we honor them, we give them parade, we are with their families there, but under these circumstances, it's unfortunate they die alone and the families suffer alone. It's an enemy that has been deadly and bad. So the call is that even under those trying circumstances, stay calm, stay strong, and remember, you are the front line to defend the rest of us. Also send messages of heartfelt condolences to the families left behind. Please find comfort knowing that you will be taken care of as per SABC protocols. On the members of the South African Police National Commissioners here, we have made it a very straight point that the members that are left behind, the families, we must still make sure that they are taken care of, because all the members that have succumbed, they succumbed on the line of duty. It is on this score, ladies and gentlemen, that I want to reassure, as your minister, that the SABC management is fully behind you during these difficult times. Through the provincial and national steering committees set up in response to the pandemic, we will continue to ensure you have the necessary tools of trade while on duty. Members, if you test positive, be reminded that you are not alone. Visual psychological services and support will continue to be available to you as you self-isolate and recover. Officers, I know that over the past months, serving your communities during a pandemic has been stressful. Your stress is also compounded by news of colleagues and your loved ones being infected or affected by the virus. The rising numbers of COVID-19 infections across the country is alarming. I am sure this is impacting negatively on the morale. I understand it is increasingly becoming difficult to have a positive outlook of life. But remember, we are the front line. It's not this group of people that will run first. You are the last, you are the first to come, and you are the last to leave. Remember, there is a COVID 24/7 COVID-19 hotline in place to ensure continuous support to infected and affected members and their families. And that number is 0800 02 9999. This is a number of our members who get affected and who want the support out there. The hotline is manned by SABC psychologists, occupational health experts, social workers, chaplains, and legal experts. But maybe this is a time again that I call on families, because no matter what, this is the best support structure. Families to support our members. Families to remember that as they go out there, it's not just the armed enemy, but also we have this new enemy. So it's a call to members, it's a call to friends, it's a call to communities, it's a call to the nation to say, support all law enforcers as they support, as they work on their behalf. They are also calling on your support. The emergence of COVID-19 means you have to now guard against second enemy, an invisible one. While the country is in lockdown, we know that criminals are not going to stay at home, and they certainly will not be sympathetic towards us at this time. So I call on you to continue to decisively deal with both the armed and unarmed enemies. As we know that Gauteng has become the new epicenter from Cape Town, and Eastern Cape is one problematic area in KZN. Those are the same places where the crime is. Those are the same provinces where the criminals want to run amok. But up to this point, I'm very happy to say we have not lost the sight of our core function to say that we are dealing with these criminals. So I call on you to continue to decisively deal with both armed and unarmed enemy. Members fighting gender-based violence must also remain a priority throughout the pandemic and beyond. I want to thank you for rendering effective services at police stations, especially to victims of domestic violence and gender-based violence. You are encouraged to continue improving your response to crimes committed against women, children, and vulnerable groups. Continue to treat victims who come to you with empathy. Investigate the cases throughout and leave no stone unturned, bringing perpetrators to book. I want to emphasize this call, that remains the priority. As the President has called it as a second pandemic, it is important that people that go to police stations, especially the victims of gender violence, must be treated accordingly with respect. Don't send them to go and negotiate. It's not our job. Our job is to arrest those people that perpetrate violence against women and children. Members of the service, as the President has said, we will beat COVID-19. I assure, as your minister, that we will not only beat this virus, but as SABC, we will come out of the storm stronger. But I want to warn, as I've said, it's still a long walk. At the present moment, we don't talk about post-COVID. We don't talk about post-COVID at the present moment. We talk about us living side by side and learning the new lives, learning the new ways. So things that we are told to do, please keep doing those things. Social and physical distance. Wash your hands, sanitize, and make sure that all things that you're supposed to do, you do them. At the present moment, we don't have any kind of medicine that tells us that we are there. So do things. As you do those things, remember to talk to South Africans, to say to South Africans, if you protect yourself, you protect your family and protect all of us. Please urge them to do the right thing. So it's important. Otherwise, the figures that are coming up, people now are dying more than 100 a day. Yesterday, I think about 13,000 people were infected in 24 hours. That tells you that the storm has arrived. For us to survive the storm, we'll have to do the best we can, and we know things that we're supposed to do. Unfortunately, there are a handful of officers who have embarrassed the organization by breaking the very rules they were meant to enforce. And I'm glad to say that the National Commissioner has taken a very hard stance on our members who are not respecting what they're supposed to do. And I want to urge all of us here and abroad that we're not supposed to become the part of problems. We're not supposed to allow ourselves to be consumed on the criminal activities. When our people see us all the time, the people of South Africa, they must be full of hope. Therefore, it is important, Commissioner, it's important, generals, to say whoever gets off our way must get the wrath and must get the wrath and must get the anger of the law. It doesn't matter who you are. And it is upon ourselves, it is in our hands that we behave and we behave properly. But I am glad to say the majority of law enforcers, the majority of all of us will do the work as we're supposed to do that work, and we continue to work to serve the country and produce our excellence and pride throughout the pandemic. I call on every member of the proud organization to continue to serve and protect with selfless patriotism and dedication in the fight against COVID-19. You are mandated and you are obligated by the Constitution, by the laws, to behave and protect and serve. You go out there, you make sure that South Africans are protected in both the armed criminal element and those that are fighting this unarmed new enemy that is killing. So we are called to march forward and make sure that you protect all of us. But don't forget to protect yourselves, because this enemy hits everybody. So I thank you very much, and then you go and save us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, for that. I'm sure if anybody wants to possibly speak with the Minister after this, but he will avail himself just for 5 minutes before he...
Police Minister Bheki Cele addressing the media about the concerns over the rising number of COVID-19 infections within the police service, saying that it's still a long way to go though, and that they are falling victims to the war that everybody is fighting. So he also called on the support on the law enforcement agents and agencies, that they need all the support as they carry out the agenda of fighting this war on behalf of the South African nation. But he also reaffirmed the SAPS commitment to to fighting or to tackling the gender-based violence agenda. And he also committed that victims, should they report any form of abuse perpetrated against them, they will not be turned away to negotiate with the perpetrators, but they will make sure that every single case of gender-based violence will be attended to, and all the perpetrators will be arrested. He was just addressing the media there in the company of some police chiefs in Pretoria. And we are inviting you to get in touch with us via our various social media platforms about some of the issues that are of concern to you.